भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकम् निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते यद्यतयो विशन्ति So this is the sannyasa mantra chanted. Now it is accustomed to chant it, this one and the next one, whenever a Swami visits the house, like I said, greeting the Swami with a coconut. The coconut symbolizes the wholeness and also symbolizes that the person who is receiving it, their heart is full. That is what it symbolizes. And I suppose it is a practice. It is also nice for the sannyasi to hear, to know what they have got into and to remember that. It serves as a very good memory. And so we saw karma, praja and dhana. Karma means action and the results thereof, and praja and dhana. Praja means progeny, dhanam wealth. So these three things are not going to help. Help in what? Moksha. Why? Because they symbolizes the very three things that one is supposed to give up, to take to a life of renunciation for the sake of moksha. And what are those things? Loka eshana, lokaishana. Loka means fields of experience, all various kinds of fields of experiences one gives up, including heaven. Putraishana, putra means children, and finally vittaishana, the desire for wealth, because all these are actually desires for security. The one that is self-standing does not depend on security on any other thing other than oneself, is called a sannyasi here, is called a yati, is called somebody who is, who has either gained the knowledge or is well on their way to gaining this knowledge. And they symbolize the fourth value written in this Upanishad, given in the Upanishad. The first three were Shraddha, Bhakti and Dhyanam. The fourth one, Tyaga, renunciation. Tyagena eke amritatvam anashire, anashuhu. So eke means a few people who dare to throw the conventions of the society aside and throw the folkloric wisdom. What is folkloric wisdom? Samsaric wisdom. That you have to have a bank account, that you have to be good and be saved in order to go to heaven, and that you have to have, money, you have to have children, you have to have all these karma phalas. Two kinds of bank account, wealth bank account and karma phala bank account. All these things you have to keep putting it in. So they flouted these folk wisdom conventions, and these folk wisdom conventions are nothing but samsaric conventional wisdom. Yeah, that keeps one rolling around in the pain and the sorrow, because you cannot amass security. How much are you going to amass? A mass of it. Okay, even if you amass a mass of security, where is that going to lead you? Nowhere. It's going to just make you feel more insecure. So these people have seen that, and therefore by tyaga alone they have gained immortality. How to gain immortality by tyaga? What is the connection between renunciation, renouncing things, letting go of things, and immortality? Because when you let go of depending on things, then you can focus on that which is uncreated, which is yourself, really. Because the more you have, the more you hoard, the more you are distracted. It's a very interesting thing that to be free, to be really free, you have to start with things. Yeah. If you look around, if you go to your house, and if you look around your house, just see all the things that you have and are not being used. Mark them. Things that are not being used at all, mark those first. And then if you are ready to do this, put them in boxes. I'm saying boxes, I'm being generous. Put them in boxes and then just put it in a spare room or under the cot or something. Don't look at it. And if you don't miss it for 6 months, and if you don't even remember it, chances are you will not even remember it, because only when you remember it you can miss it, correct? You won't even remember what you had. And the very things that you felt you could not part with. Out of sight, out of mind. So put it under a bed, put it under, behind a screen, wherever it is. Don't look at it for 6 months. And in 6 months, if you have not thought of it, give it away. And then go back again, look around and see what you are using only occasionally. Do the same thing. And then go back and do the same thing until actually what you need you have. Same thing with a house. There are so many rooms, There is a science called Vastu. What is that? Indian Feng Shui. That is the word. Yeah. Indian Feng Shui called Vastu. In one of the primary principles, whether you build a temple or whether you build a house, you plan only as many rooms as you will use. Because unused rooms, start to have bad Vastu. It's bad to have unused rooms. So only build a house as big as what you can, happily occupy all the rooms. But usually how is it, everybody generally wants to have a big house, and then what, all the rooms are gathering dust and you are only in 2 places. In the room next to the kitchen where you hang out, and the kitchen, and then at night you sleep in the bedroom. That's all. That is generally how it happens. Then people are so particular, we need basement, we need attic, we need this, we need that, we need to do this, we need to do that. Then you have to remodel what you have, because what you have didn't come out very well. So like this. And so tyaga here, is of 2 kinds. One is a mental tyaga, that no matter what you have, you are not moved by what you have. That's a difficult thing to do. The mental tyaga is difficult, correct? So the mental tyaga means you are not touched by what you have. You may have many things, you may possess many things, but you don't own any of them. You may have them because somebody gave them to you. You may have them because, they just happened to come your way. You may have them because you purchased them a long time ago, before you knew better. Then what? It is there. But what is your relationship to those things? That is what has to be the interrogation. That is what it has to be. What is your relationship with that thing? Can you mentally say goodbye to it? And of course, the rule of the thumb is don't have anything that you cannot give away. Because then you can have anything. Because somebody comes and says, oh, this is so wonderful, can I have it? If you are able to say yes, have it. If you are able to say no, if you cannot say yes, if only no comes, don't buy that thing. Don't have that thing. Give that away. And so in the giving away is the freedom, because otherwise I become a slave to the emotions. I become a slave to the wants, the desires connected with that. Because there is a lot of desires connected with it, there is a lot of emotions connected with it, there is a lot of distress connected with things. And there is a lot of distress connected with people. In the name of love, we reproduce constantly various types of dysfunctionality. This is what it is. And in the reproduction of this dysfunctionality is hidden a wrong value. And what is that wrong value? A false sense of ownership. This is my significant other. This is my spouse, my child, my house. So wherever the words me and mine come, there is trouble. So the Amritatvam, immortality, which means freedom from samsara, freedom from thinking I am subject to death, thinking that I am subject to some kind of limitations, that is samsara. So freedom from that is moksha. Thinking that I am subject to all kinds of wrong things, this is samsara. And so the freedom from that is gained by having a very asanga, an uninvolved relationship with the objects in the house and even with the people. Doesn't mean you don't care. There's a difference between caring and, becoming dysfunctional. So I care all right, but I am not becoming dysfunctional. And so when I am able to do this for myself, then what happens is that I learn to relate to things and people freely if I don't want anything out of them. Usually the freedom is disturbed because I want things from the objects and I have expectations from the people. This is the wrong kind of a bondage. It's not a relationship, it's a bondage. Because those expectations, are they going to be met? Probably not. If they are met, they will be met for such a short time that they will go away immediately. So therefore, sannyasa here is both a lifestyle as well as an inner disposition of a tyagi, of a person who learns to be free of the effect of the objects, free of the effect of the objects in their life, so that they can focus on the subject, which is themselves. This is how Amritatvam anashire. In fact, This is true of all desires. When you give it up, you get it. Unfortunately, this is the law. The Murphy's law of desire. What is Murphy's law? If anything can go wrong, it will. And what is the Murphy's law of desire? If anything you want, give it up. Yeah, it's contradictory. So the thing that you want most badly, give that up. Give up that striving for it, and then it will come on its own. Oh, then what's the use? By that time I won't want it. That's the whole idea. Then you can enjoy it freely when it comes, because you don't want it anyway. It has come, so you enjoy it, because like this there are so many things in life which just come, which you were never expecting, so it's always a windfall. And that is the life of a sannyasi. Oh, today there is food? Yippee! Oh, tomorrow no food? No problem, business as usual. Third day. Today there is this? Oh, nice. Tomorrow not this? No problem. So everything is a surprise. Everything is a good surprise. Because there are no expectations for their own self. They don't have expectations. Even to maintain the body, there is no expectation. So if you go with expectations, then one is going to be a sad and mad being. If there is too much rajas, first mad, then sad. If there is too much tamas, first sad, then mad. So therefore there seems to be an inverse relationship between letting go and then a freedom that one discovers oneself. And there seems to be another kind of a binding relationship between hoarding and then holding on to things and then feeling extremely sad. The more one has, the more one is spiritually impoverished, generally speaking, unless one has the language. So na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, tyagena eke, amritatvam anashuhu. And what did they get in the form of amritatvam is given in the next line. Parena nakam nihitam guhayam. So they went beyond heaven, to the highest reaches of heaven. Kam means happiness. Akam, dukkham. Nakam, again happiness. So they went to that happy place. What is this happy place? It's not a place of disconnection. It's a place of being totally with themselves. And there is no going. This is just an expression. So they went to this place, Parena Nakam, to the ultimate reaches of heaven. What is this ultimate reaches of heaven? Where is it? I want to go. Nihitam Guhayam. It's right in between the temples. It is where you recognize yourself. It is where you recognize Brahman. Oh, it's the same place? Yeah, it's the same place. Where you recognize yourself is where you recognize the Jagat, is where you recognize Brahman. So they are all one and the same? Yes. You are Brahman, that is what it is. And so Nihitam, this heavenly abode, which is an unending, limitless, here you can use the word eternal heaven because it is you. It is the truth of you. Is located in the same place where you cognize yourself. And who is it that you are cognizing? The self that is free of pain and sorrow. The self that is whole, the self that is free. Limitless. And how did they recognize, these few people, the few sannyasis, how did they recognize this self? Vibhrajate. Vibhrajate swayam prakashate. Shines on its own. Everything shines. Everything shines. But you need help. The eyes shine, they fall on objects and bring them to light. But the eyes themselves need light to bring the objects to light. Mind shines, But again, the mind needs to be blessed by Brahman to say, aha, I think I'm getting Vedanta. Without that, nothing happens. Senses shine. Somebody says, I can see, I can hear, I can, smell. All the senses shine. Again, they are blessed by the mind, which is blessed by Ishvara, by Brahman. So they shine. Sun shines. Sun also shines, yes. In fact, you can say the eyes are dependent upon sun or a source of light, primarily sun. But what is that even makes the sun an object? You. When you say this is the sun, you are the one who reveals the sun, the brightest object that we know, on earth. You are the one who reveals the sun. Yaschasa vaditye sa ekah saya evam vit. This Purusha who is even the cause of the sun, it is said in the Taittiriya Upanishad. This person who thought I'm an idiot is really the cause of the sun. How can I be the cause of the sun? Because you say sun is. Sun doesn't say you are. You say sun is. What is that light that is able to reveal the sun? That is vibhrajate swayam jyotisham jyotihi. That is the light of all lights, the light of your awareness, the light of consciousness, that very being which is self-evident, which is not dependent on anything else to shine, does not beg for another consciousness. So you can say, I am the one who is making the sun shine. I am the shine in the sun, because my shine is making that shine, is bringing that shine to light. So my shine, I shine and the sun shines after me. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. This sounds familiar. What is this? Arati mantra. Yeah. Tameva bhantam. When this self-shining self, when it shines alone, only when it shines, anubhati sarvam, all other things can shine after the self. So first is the self-shining self, which comes to light on its own, and then after that, all other things can shine. Tasya bhasa, its light lights up the whole universe. Cat, mat, rat, hat, from pot to thought, it lightens up everything. This is the light of all lights. Vibhrajate, prakarshena, pradipyate. Very forcefully it shines without any help. It's the only source of light, which makes the sun look like a dwarf, pun intended. In astronomy they say blue dwarf, yellow dwarf, all these things. So those blue dwarfs and all we don't need. The sun itself becomes a dwarf in whose presence. And even if you think of those terms, those smaller, the suns which are older, the stars which are really old and on their way out, they have mapped the lifespan of the stars. Because this whole universe, which is 13 billion years old, is right in front of us. So they have mapped out the aging stars, the new stars, you can see the whole universe. And then the aging stars are called yellow dwarf, and then finally blue dwarf, red dwarf. There are all these, when the light becomes dim, and it's because there is so much nuclear activity. The sun is burning itself out, that's why it has spots and it has flares, it's burning itself out. And so these stars also, like the sun, they are burning themselves out. And there is a lot of, and so after a few million years of burning themselves out, they become blue dwarfs, red dwarfs, yellow dwarfs, all these things. But nobody thinks, who is the one who is calling them blue dwarf? The undwarfed light alone. Yeah. The consciousness which is in the form of the scientist here, the consciousness in the form of the astronomer is calling this a blue dwarf, which is probably enough to fry so many universes still, because even the blue dwarf is still pretty hot. But the thing is, here I can sit without even leaving this puny little earth. I can look at something several thousand light years away and say, oh, there it goes, this blue dwarf. That is the light of all lights, that can name the various stages of rise and decline of all the heavenly bodies, and which itself doesn't decline. That is why I can map the universe based on a gradation of light, because the light of all lights neither dims nor fluctuates, nor is absent in between. No, it is a steady light, not subject to any fluctuation. This changeless light can map all the changes. That is why it can map all the changes. Vibhrajate. And so this light of all lights, the yatis, yatayaha, plural, like harihi, hari, harayaha, yatihi, yati, yatayaha. These sadhus have entered Vishanti. This is the light that they enter. Enter the light, will they not get fried? Like entering a bug zapper? No, not like that. It is their own light that they have entered. They have entered their own light. Meaning they have embraced it, identified with it fully, and understood the meaning of this light. For the regular person, they take this light for granted. They don't even think about it. And the regular person, constantly, identifies with everything other than the light. Never says, I am the light of all lights. Oh, I just feel sad. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I'm having so many problems. Oh, my horoscope is acting out. Oh, the neighbor is not nice to me. Oh, this is the lament. This is the non-yati's lament. And the lament is just, how many lifetimes has this lament gone on? Many, 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 many lifetimes. This is the same lament. Like, in India we have a one-string instrument. It is called Ek Tara. Sometimes Mirabai used that for bhajans, singing bhajans. It only plays one note. What is that? I'm sad, 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 I'm sad. I want. Nobody loves me, nobody loves me, nobody loves me. And so every lifetime the tune may change, but it's the same complaint in a different form. So it's not that for such people. In fact, in the commentary it is said, Vibhrajate means, so this light shines only for the yatis, and for the ignorant people this light doesn't shine. No, it is shining even for the ignorant people, they just don't recognize it. Even those who have self-ignorance, I'm going to read you that portion. It's so wonderful in this commentary, and it is just very well expressed. It says, निहितं प्रदीप्तं धात्रा गुहायां बुद्धः विभ्राजते विशेषेण स्वयं प्रकाशत्वेन प्रदीप्यते. And then in brackets the commentator writes, avidyatve sati aparokshah vibhrajamanah. So even for those people who do not have self knowledge, who are sunk in the pond of ignorance, even for them it is shining. but not knowing that they are looking for the shine in all that glitters outside, thinking that that is the original glitter, whereas they are the original glitter. Yeah, everything else is just Twitter, yeah, something to talk about in 100 characters or less. That's all it is. This is the original glitter, that which doesn't fluctuate, that which is self-shining. So it's not that the yatis are special and only for them this light is shining. This is not fair. Why should the sannyasis have a good life? What is saying here is that the sannyasi is the one who is recognizing it, who's given up everything in order to recognize this. So for the other people also it is shining. It's not that it has stopped shining. For everyone this shines. But the sannyasi here, the yati, the one who has made, the yati also means of correct effort. You can make effort, Ravana, who is Ravana? The Rakshasa in the Ramayana, correct. The baddie in the Mahabharata is Duryodhana, and the baddie in the Ramayana is Ravana. He was also a great, he was into penance. He stood on a rock on one leg, the other leg, folded like this. He stood on a rock in Vrikshasana with the hands outstretched up in what is called in yoga a tree pose. He stood like that for many, many years until Lord Shiva came. And then what did he want? World dominance. This is what he wanted. This is why he stood on one leg. You see? So he also made effort. And he made so much effort that Lord Shiva's meditation was broken and appeared before him, the story goes. Because this fellow was still on one leg. And then he came down to earth and said, "Yo Ravana, why are you shaking a leg? What happened? Why are you on one leg? What is going on?" He says, I want all power. I want 10 heads. I don't want anybody to kill me this way, that way. I want your life force that I can take with me, and this is what is going to make me dominate all over the world, because wherever you go, you are worshipped. Like that, I want to be worshipped. Make your life force, your prana, I want into a linga, into a Shiva linga. And so Shiva could not say no, because it is his karma phala. You see, if you have your karma phala, Shiva cannot even deny it. If karma phala is coming to you, then Shiva also cannot say no, because it's his own law. Ishvara cannot violate his own law. And so he said, okay, here is prana linga, take it, atma linga. It is myself alone, take it. And he took it. And he said, don't keep it anywhere down, because it's so powerful, it will take root and all the power will go to that place. Don't keep it down. And Vishnu quickly called all the other devatas and had a conference. Said, oh my God, how many times I have rescued this gullible Shiva from all these, stupid devotees. And Shiva is so innocent. He just grants them whatever they ask for. Whatever they want, he just keeps on giving. How many times to rescue him? Can't even just lie down in peace. Vishnu likes to lie down. And he's always lying down. So, the idea is he is not stressed, even though he has to run the universe. That's the idea. So then he says, okay, now again I have to take one avatara and go. So then he goes down in the form of a young, Vedic student, a Brahmin boy who is studying in the Gurukula. And he goes and he meets Ramana and he says, aren't you going to do the evening prayers? You have to do prayers 3 times a day at least. And so one of them is called Sandhya. All of them are called Sandhya, and one of them happens, early morning, one of them around noon, and the other one at the evening time. So aren't you going to do Sandhya? The sun will go down now. You have to do before the sun goes down. You should do this. And Ravana says, yeah, I have to, but this this prana linga, this is Shiva himself, this is Shiva's life force, this is Atma linga, I cannot put it down. And the boy says, oh, is that so? I'll hold it. Looking very innocent. I'll hold it for you. Really? You look very naughty. No, I'm not naughty. See, I'm so innocent. I'm so cute. I'm so small. I'll hold it. Are you sure? Yes. Don't go away to play with it. No. Where are your friends? They are not here. I'm here by myself. I'm just taking a walk. And in fact, I'll also pray with you. So first you go, take a bath. Here is a nice pond. I'll hold it for you. And then I'll also go take a bath and we'll pray together. And Ravana thought, yeah, it's so nice to pray with another person. Alone is so boring. I'll do Sandhya with this boy also. Okay. And then he entered the water. And you're supposed to take 3. First you offer and then you take 3, dips. First dip, the boy starts to complain. It's getting heavy. I'm a small boy. Come out soon. He says, wait. Don't put it down. I'm coming. Just 2 more dips. The second dip, the boy says, I'm putting it down. And the third dip, he puts it down. It takes root there. And Ravana is like all those centuries of standing on one leg, all just rooted to the ground right here. And then he tries to pull this Shivalinga out from where it is, and then it grows ears because of the force of pulling. Yeah. And that temple is situated on the coastal Karnataka in a place called Gokarna. It's so beautiful. It looks like cow ears, the linga. This is the hand of Ravana there. So Ravana has to go back to Sri Lanka with very sad face, that sad face that you make with the downward lips and 2 dots, yeah. And that is the story. And so he also made effort, correct? Can you call him a yati? No. With the upayukta yatnaha yatihi. The one who makes correct effort at the correct time in the correct place. And so these are the sadhus who have made the correct effort in the proper way, in the proper time. That is the yati. And so what have these yatis done? They have entered immortality, so to speak, meaning they have become one with themselves. They have become one with the endless, shining self that has no limits, and they know that it is uncreated. And in knowing that it is uncreated, they are immortal, because it is themselves alone. Next one. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha Sannyasa Yogad Yataya Shuddha Sattvaha Te Brahma Lokeshu Parantakale Paramritah Parimuchyanti Sarve. Yeah. So, how did they make the proper effort? This is given in the next mantra. So how come these people alone made the proper effort? Because they are described by that first line is just one word. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha. Long compound. Vedantasya Vijnanam, Vedanta Vijnanam, Vedanta Vijnanat, Vedanta Vijnane Sunishchitarthaha, Yaha Saha Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha. So Vedanta is the knowledge. Vedanta Vijnanam. Vedanta is the Vijnana. Vedanta is the knowledge, or you can say the knowledge of Vedanta. Vedantanam Vijnanat, you can also take. And Sunishchitarthaha, that is another compound. This is a compound within a compound. So Sunishchitartha is another compound. And Tasminneva Sunishchitaha Arthaha Prayojanam Yesham Te. This is how it is described. That is just one this thing. That is one possible resolution of the compound. Or sunishchitaha idanim iti evam eti samyak avadharitah brahmalakshana arthah yaihi te vedanta vijnana sunishchitarthaha. So two meanings are given in the Tika. And Tika means this commentary. The first meaning is that the ones who, for whom there is no other use in anything except the knowledge of Vedanta. They have determined, sunishtitaha, nicely determined and properly determined through enquiry, that other than the knowledge of Vedanta there is nothing else that can free them. Correct? Yeah, there nothing else that can free. Everything binds. The knowledge of Vedanta alone frees. This they have determined. And then what? That is one meaning. Second meaning is that they have the knowledge of Vedanta. Sunishchitartha means they have properly determined. Samyak avadharitaha. So they have properly determined. What have they determined? They have determined that what Vedanta has to offer, they have determined. They know what Vedanta has to offer, they are clear about it. And this knowledge, they are totally one with this knowledge. And they have nothing else that is posing a contention or competing with this knowledge. They know that this is it. This is what is called Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha. Both meanings are important to take here. In the first instance, because you see there are many kinds of sannyasa. There is Kutichaka sannyasa, there is Bahudaka sannyasa, there is Vividisha sannyasa, there is Vidvat sannyasa. There is all different kinds of sannyasas are there. Bahudaka means you stay near a place of water. And then Hamsa and Paramahamsa, there is all these things are there. Hamsa means the sannyasi who carries a stick called danda. Like the Shankaracharyas are all Hamsa sannyasis. They carry a stick which has a little orange cloth tied to the pole at the top. And what they do is they ceremonially relegate their ego to the stick. And so of course as long as you are alive, the ego is there. But you have given it to the stick, so you are free of the ego. But the stick has to go with them everywhere. Yeah. Very sticky situation, Yeah. So those are called Hamsa Sannyasis or Hamsa Swamis. Then, then there is another category under which all of us fall, which is called Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa means you throw away the stick also. Because you say, why should I first bother having the ego and then giving the ego to the stick, when it is easier to know that when it is easier to falsify the ego by knowledge. So I am going to falsify the ego by knowledge, so I don't have to go with the help of this stick and everything. So that is Hamsa, Paramhamsa, Bahudaka I told you. Then there is a unique sannyasa called Kutichaka sannyasa. Kutichaka means that the person is too sick to actually live the life of a sannyasi. Sick means have some really difficult chronic disease, cannot go to the forest. This is in those days, Yeah. So cannot go to the forest, cannot just take bath in the river, will probably just catch a cold and have arthritis or something like that. So very, very sick. So for them there is a special thing made that, in the compound of the house, behind the house they can build a small little room for the sannyasi. The family members will build and they will just, push some food under the door or give them some food. Not much interaction. They still do they lead their lives, but they need help because they are not able to cook, they are not able to do anything, and they need to be cared for. So this is called Kutichaka sannyasa. Then there is Apat sannyasa. Apat sannyasa means one knows that one's days are numbered. And one asks for sannyasa, please give me sannyasa so that next life, I don't have to suffer like this. So therefore, they can ask anybody, and even the thing says that you can even take it on your own at that time. If you can't find anybody to give you, If you know that your days are numbered, somebody is on the deathbed, they can just, declare that henceforth I am a sannyasi. This is what it is, So then there is, vividisha sannyasa, veditum ichha. So people who want this knowledge can take to a life of sannyasa for the sake of study. And then there is vidvat sannyasa, people who already know. They can wait till they already know, and then they can, take to a life of sannyasa once they already know. So there is many different kinds of sannyasa, and so both these meanings are appropriate. So the first ones here, the first resolution of the compound, Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha, those who have determined that only through Vedanta there is freedom. It could mean either of these categories, the ones who want to know or the ones who know. And the second one applies to the ones who know. Yeah. So all that is covered. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha Sannyasa Yogat. Through embracing a life of letting go. Letting go of what? That has to be very clear. Letting go of roles in society. Letting go of obligations. Letting go of connections in the form of roles. No more son, no more daughter, not in the same way. No more mother, no more father, no more spouse, no more grandmother, grandfather, no more friend, no more employer, employee. All those roles are given up for the pursuit of this knowledge, or for the pursuit of nishtha, for the ones who already have this knowledge, to gain more of a deeper abiding into this knowledge. Nitaram sthitihi is equal to nishtha. So the ones who want to gain a deeper embodiment of this knowledge, more, further growing clarity, more, abiding the knowledge deeply. This is called sannyasa yoga. And who takes this? Yatayaha, those of proper effort. And now you know what the proper effort is? What is the proper effort? Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartham. Determining that Vedanta alone can free, this knowledge alone can free, and then pursuing the knowledge not once or twice, but until the understanding is deeply gained. That kind of a commitment and that kind of an effort, makes one a yati, someone who has done yatna. The effort is put in the proper direction, in the proper way, and is blessed by the elders, the gurus, and Bhagavan himself. And so such a person, yatayaha, who are these yatis? Shuddha sattva-aha. Shuddha sattva-aha. Shuddha sattva means ones whose minds are free from raga and dvesha. And there is a very nice thing given for Shuddha sattva. I want to share that with you. Very beautiful in the commentary. Shuddham ragadveshadi kashaya rahitam. The free of the burden of the unconscious. Sattvam antahkaranam yesham te shuddha sattvaha. This is what is called Shuddha sattvaha. The ones that are free of ragadvesha. And then here also it says something here. Adi Shankara also says something here about that. Shuddham sattvam yesham te shuddha sattvaha sannyasa yoga te shuddha sattvaha. He connects the two. Here, sannyasa yoga means because of taking to a life of sannyasa, they are shuddha sattva, he says that. He connects the two. Because they have taken up this life, they are free of the ragadveshas. Because there is nothing that frees from the ragadvesha sooner. Because, if one is ready for sannyasa, then the ragadveshas are already gone. And so whatever little remains, that also goes away. That is the idea. So then what happens to them? Te brahmalokeshu parantakale paramritaha parimuchyanti. Te parimuchyanti sarve. Te sarve. All these people parimuchyanti. Paritaha muchyanti. So paritaha means all around, without any residue. Muchyanti are freed. From much, to be free, fourth conjugation. So they are freed. So how are they free? When are they freed? Parantakale. First we will take Antakala. Antakala means what? The end. The time of the end. The time of the end of what? This body. The time of the end of this body is called Antakala. So normally what happens for people at Antakala? People don't die. Body dies. And what happens to the people? The jivas? First they go wherever they are supposed to go according to the karma. Yatha karma, yatha shrutam. They travel. So yesterday somebody was asking the question, what is Sukshma Sharira? So obviously the body doesn't travel, correct? Because the body is either interred or put on the flames. Body doesn't travel anywhere. The body has become very heavy and sick, so they leave the body and they take on a new body. So this is Sukshma Sharira. That which travels is Sukshma Sharira. And what does that contain? Bhagadi pancha, Shravanadi pancha, Pranadi pancha, Abhramukhani pancha. So 5 organs of action, 5 sense organs, 5 subtle elements from which these have come, and then the Manaha and Buddhi. Manaha, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chittam, all this goes. So these 19 things go, traveling. And what is inside the Manaha? What is inside the mind? What is inside the mind? No, not Manaha. What is in the mind? Huh? So for someone who doesn't have this knowledge, what is the mind full of? What is the mind full of? Raga and Dvesha. That is what goes. That is why even when a small child is born, you know what happens? What is happening here today? You can't hear what is going on. You're just responding. Okay, yeah, vasanas. That's correct. So the mind is full of vasanas, means unfulfilled desires. And the desires travel. That's why when you see a small baby, it will have such a personality. It's hardly 3 months old. It will start saying, I don't like this, I want that, I don't want this. Where did it come from? How did it learn? It was carrying it from many lifetimes. So the same thing to do with talent. Mozart composed his first song when he was 14 months old, they say. He saw somebody at the piano, he just went and played it perfectly and composed his first song. Couldn't even talk. Where did this come from? Purva vasanas. Vasanas can be both good and bad. They can be your talents, they can be so many things. They can also be memories, things you have not been able to let go. And primarily it is raga and dvesha. So they carry the raga and dvesha all over. And then what happens? They travel from one loka to another loka according to their papa and punya. And then they are reborn. 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 Next time, next time, next time, next time. One time dog, another time cat, then human being. The human being who behaved like a dog, so next time back to dog. This continues. This is called Antakala because there is no resolution to this. The more the vasanas, the more the karma, the rebirth continues. And so somebody said you have to do vasana kshaya. You have to get rid of all the vasanas. How are you going to get rid of all the vasanas? That will become another vasana. Vasana means desire. I have to get rid of all desires. I have to get rid of all. That's another desire now. Then you have to get rid of that desire which wants to get rid of all desires. Then you want to get rid of that desire which wants to get rid of all desires, which want to get rid of that desire. Then it becomes a regression. So here the person through knowledge, through inquiry into the nature of the desirer, all desires are falsified. And in the gain of self-knowledge, all karma is falsified. There is no more karma. You don't have to get exhausted trying to exhaust karma. There is no more karma. Because you have woken up from that feeling that I am a karta. You have woken up from the samsaric nightmare that I am a doer and all these things are accruing into my account. You have woken up from that. When the doer is falsified, what about what is done? That is falsified also. So what happens when a sannyasi dies or a yati dies? That is called parantakala. And there what happens? Natasya pranaha utkramanti. The prana does not rise again. So usually we talk of three bodies. The gross body, the subtle body, and then the karana sharira, the causal body. The gross body is a product of the gross 5 elements. The subtle body is a product of 5 subtle elements. Very good. And the causal body is the product of ignorance. Causal body is nothing but ignorance. So when a regular person who is not initiated into Vedanta, who doesn't know oneself, passes away, the gross body goes back to the 5 elements because you put it under the ground or you cremate it. Either way, it goes back to the 5 elements. The subtle body doesn't go back to the subtle 5 elements, it travels. And then it has the pressure to find another gross body. And depending on the force of the desires, it finds a body an appropriate vehicle for the expression of that desire. That's why Bhagavan says, Antakale api mam smritva smaran muktva kalevaram. The one who leaves the body thinking of me will gain me, because whatever is the strongest desire you gain. And you can't say, oh, last minute, so I'll think of Bhagavan at the last minute. When do you know what is the last minute? And this is why they keep, very auspicious names for the children, so that when you call out the children, you can actually call out Bhagavan. And many people keep the name Narayana. So you can say Narayana. The person can say Narayana when at the deathbed, and then go to Vaikuntha. That's the feeling. Vaikuntha is Vishnu's heaven. That's the prevalent belief. Only problem is Narayana had a pet name, Nanu. So I don't know if they call Nanu whether Bhagavan will answer or not. But anyhow, that's the idea. So everybody wants to not come back. And so whatever is it's not that once taking Bhagavan's name is going to free. You have to take it all the time. And that has to be the strongest desire. So if Vedanta is the strongest desire, the next life has to be a human life, because only in a human life you have to study Vedanta. No other life. And it has to be a comfortable life where all the difficulties in the study are removed. So that you can come and sit. The mind doesn't pose difficulties, the body doesn't pose difficulties. That kind of a life it's going to be. And so therefore, Parantakala, this is Antakala. So Parantakala means that which has that kind of a kala, where the demise of the body of the sannyasi goes to the 5 elements. The subtle body, which doesn't have that bite of the desires, also resolves into the 5 subtle elements. And what about the causal body? There is no causal body called ignorance. The causal body not being there, what is going to come back? Nothing is going to come back. There is no coming back. Parimuchyanti sarve. More we'll see at the weekend, Kaivalya and Bhagavad Gita marathon tomorrow and day after. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Harihi Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So Arun, I have answered your question, okay? Yeah, yesterday's question, what is subtle body? Yeah. For an Advaitic Vedantin, everything is Ishvara. Should the Vedantin think about Vastu, wearing traditional clothes, etc.? No, it's all a model. Everything is Ishvara. You don't have to think about that. That's correct. It's a model. I'm telling you the model. Are the words Jnana and Vijnana same? Yes, same meaning. If they are used together, Jnana means knowledge in general. Vijnana means knowing the self intimately. An intimate perception, a direct perception of oneself. That is what it is. Subtle body, yeah, Buddhi is part of the subtle body, yes. Yes. No, with moksha being the ultimate, does vasana change from birth to birth? I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. I did not follow that. According to astrophysics, the sun shines due to nuclear. Yeah, that's what I said. That which makes the sun shine is you. You are the one who is aware of the sun. Without any fission or fusion, you are aware of the sun. Without undergoing any microwave-like reaction, you are that light which doesn't need anything. You are that sun. You are the light of all lights. Sannyasa happens as a natural byproduct of emotional maturity. Does self-knowledge also happen automatically? No. Self-knowledge has to be pursued. The emotional maturity is the prerequisite for self-knowledge. Nice try though, yeah. Then we don't need to attend the class. When Swaminiji refers to unconscious, she is referring to the state where we don't know the true self. No, I am referring to that body of pain and fear that has been accumulated in the first 4 years of life. I am using it in the Freudian sense. That body of pain and fear accumulated in the first 4 years of life that the child is not able to deal with. Does letting go of roles involve letting go of dharma? Not yet. Dharma you catch on to, for a long time, until it becomes you, and then there is nothing to let go of. The roles also you keep performing, you keep knowing. The point is to let go of involvement in the role. You don't let go of the roles either. So you perform the roles by keeping inner space between you, the actor, and the role that you perform. See you tomorrow. Namaskar. Om.